like, okay, people support this, people want this. I know I'm going to go through hardships. I don't even know what Islamic meditation sounds like or looks like, but we're going to make it happen.
So, Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and welcome to Transformative Technology Islamabad's meetup. We have here Subhan Ashrafi with us, who's made a transformative technology for the Muslim community. And as most of you who are here know, that is something that is of really high interest to me as well. A brief introduction of transformative technology is any technology that helps in human enhancement, in human well being, in quality of life, or in productivity in general. So, here with us today is Subhan. Um, I'm going to just introduce him and give a brief bio of his. In 2011, the entrepreneur, die-hard basketball fan, and high school junior known as Sabr the Gamer launched his own YouTube channel dedicated to playing and talking about sports video games. The then teenager grew his audience to more than 265,000 subscribers with 65 million views, ultimately launching a career that has given him exclusive access to the 2K Sports and Mortal Kombat studios, invitations to various NBA arenas, and even a feature role in an NBA Finals commercial featuring NBA MVP Kevin Durant. Beyond sports and games and YouTube, Subhan ultimately wants to use his influence to make a difference in the world. He memorized the Holy Quran at age 15, spent an entire year learning basic Islamic sciences, and is a self described family man. In addition, Subhan is a certified life coach, motivational speaker, and the founder of Brand Exposure, a digital agency helping companies with their marketing efforts. By the grace of Allah, Subhan founded the Sabr App in the summer of 2020. So that's a very interesting journey, um, Subhan, that you've had. And would you like to add a little anything to that?
Subhanallah. Well, Jazakallah khair, brother Hayder, for such a warm and kind intro. I guess the only thing to add to that is, as of 2 weeks ago and one day, by the grace of God, I've been able to be a father. So I was able to have baby
Uh,
Adam join us in this earth, and
uh,
definitely want to make sure I have that. So, yeah, it's been a crazy journey of life so far.
I knew you were going to add that to the bio. Also, like proud father, proud new father of one.
Yes, I have to. I have to.
So, Subhan, tell us about this app that you've made, Sabr.
Yeah. So I've been a huge fan of motivation throughout my whole life. In the bio you mentioned I started a YouTube channel. Now, when I was doing my YouTube videos, and I still do them from time to time, but primarily when I was in college and whatnot, when I was really growing on YouTube and things of that sort, I would always try to make my videos, even though they were, talking about video games or they were sports, if you will. I would always try to make them very motivational. I would try to not use profanity in any of my videos, whereas other people in my niche would. I would always try to be that older brother, if you will, to a lot of my viewers. So because of that, I've realized that the viewers of mine really felt very attached to myself. They would send me messages and telling me about their problems, about their mental health problems, and how my videos perhaps made their day and it's something that they look forward to and things of that sort. So I learned early on, as somebody in high school and then college, that kids and youth are struggling and positivity really helps them. And the more I started to disseminate motivation to them, the more I started to also benefit from motivation as well. I would go on YouTube and I would type in motivational lectures. I would type in productivity lectures, how to achieve your goals, things like that. So I've really started to get attached to motivation.
Mhm.
Fast forwarding till now, and of course we can dive deep into some of the other things I have been able to do. Work at a mosque, work for start my own company, working with different Muslim organizations, etc. I started to realize that these mental health issues, they aren't, or they weren't just for the kids that I would talk to on my YouTube videos. They were for all of our entire community, not just non-Muslims, but Muslims as well. Working directly with Muslim organizations and working as a youth coordinator at a masjid with our youth, I started to realize that it's adults who are facing this, it's the teenagers who are facing this, it's the leaders who are facing this. A lot of people are struggling, and because of that, and you pair it now COVID in 2020,
Mm.
the goal, inshallah, was to create this app. And essentially, it's the Calm app for Muslims.
Yeah. No, that sounds so great, and I think basically it started from your YouTube base, and a lot of the young people who were interested in the sports and games and other things that you were doing, but then it was also very local, at the community, at the masjid level, and so you're like, this is local, this is global, and it is something that I think you're one of the pioneers when it comes to Muslim apps. I mean, we have Rania here. She's also made something in
Wow.
Oman in Arabic, and I'm also trying to make something. But I think that you're part of that first few people, first 5 or 10 people who've actually founded something which is technology based, which is for the Muslim community, and which revolves around broader social issues of well-being, mental health, and quality of life. So it's pretty exciting actually, um, to be here, to be here with you, and to talk firsthand about like why you're doing it. And on that why, or on these choices that you've made, I wonder whether there's a story behind the word sabr, and is there a personal sort of draw to why you chose the word sabr?
Yeah, yeah. So great question. So just me being like very entrepreneurial minded, like I am, alhamdulillah, I was able to get married a couple of years ago. And, from the moment I got married, my wife had to hear, and still has to hear, the hundreds of business ideas that I always have.
Okay.
And she, 2 years into marriage, just like, what, she'll only like really, uh, go invest into it like mentally if I still talk about it a week after. Because I'll think about it, I'll tell her, I'll buy the domain, and then a week later, I'll move on. So the same happened with the Sabr app. So one day she was sleeping. I'll never forget it. I was just thinking of we're now in the pandemic, and there's Calm app, and I'm seeing the Calm app a lot on my Instagram feeds and my TV feeds and my Facebook feeds, etc. And I just realized there's really nothing like this for Muslims. Like, where's the Muslim version? And then I'm telling you, right then and there, I just thought of the word sabr. It's short, calm, easy. It's a really powerful name, means patience, and we all need patience in our life, myself first and foremost. So I woke her up and I said, oh my God, this is the name, Sabr, meditation app, Muslim. And then she was sleeping and she woke up, and then, same thing. Like,
She had to show sabr to you against that
yes, you had to show
sleeping.
Sabr, and you know, uh, tell me about it in a week if you're still interested, type of thing. And subhanallah, that was in February of 2020, and now it's been over a year since the idea came to mind, and there's not been one day where I haven't not thought about it. So that's kind of how it came to be, and once I thought of it, I just kept on going.
So let's segue a little bit into this,
Yeah.
aside from the script, since you brought it up, that, you had all these business ideas, and then some of them one week later disappeared. I'm guessing from
Yeah,
you're saying
absolutely.
thousands of them, right?
Yeah,
And so this one stuck.
yeah.
So how you know, and you've shared why you felt it was so important to make this app. But I think when you want to make something, it's not just about need, it's also about like execution.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So execution for this was definitely very tough. So the idea came to inception in February, and it wasn't until maybe March or so where I had a talk with my with a mentor of mine, and I told him about this idea, and he really was fond of it. And even when I thought of the idea, I wasn't planning on launching it last year. Like, I thought of it, I couldn't stop thinking about it, but I'm like, okay, maybe in 2021 when I finished like like my school and stuff like that. But he told me this is the time to do it. You got to do it now. We're in a pandemic. Others will do it if you don't do it. So this is the time to do it, and people really need it. So that push was very helpful for me, and that kind of gave me the green light. But the execution was definitely a challenge of its own. And I'll never forget that, one of the people who we have on our app, Brother Bilal, he told me, a week into us working together, that this journey of building the app Sabr is going to require Sabr itself. And
Mm,
that blew my mind because, it's very common to run into various obstacles and roadblocks when doing so. And we did. But alhamdulillah, we pivoted through it. And the biggest thing that we did to even see if this is worth spending, the thousands and tens of thousands that it took to make something like this, is in the month of Ramadan, we did a crowdfunding campaign. So that's where I
mm,
was like, okay, I'm going to work on this, but let's see if people will support. So we made
mm.
a promo video, and then luckily it was right around the time of Ramadan. So I said, you know what, let's do this. And alhamdulillah, we made our first Ramadan campaign to get the word out and see if people would support. And by the grace of God, we raised about $7,000 or so. And
MashaAllah.
one once that was raised, it was like, okay, people support this, people want this. I know I'm going to go through hardships. I don't even know what Islamic meditation sounds like or looks like, but we're going to make it happen. And alhamdulillah, never looked back since.
So I think two things really stand out for me. One is the fact that you were part of the community to begin with. That the audience that you were aiming to serve, you were already in touch with them, whether that was from your YouTube channel or whether that was your volunteering at the local community center at the masjid. So you were part of that community who you were helping that solve from. So you weren't isolated from them. You were talking to them, and then alhamdulillah, they did come and in and support you. But the second thing that kind of stands out to me is this, that so what is the structure that now you've thought about it? Like I know we spoke about this earlier,
Yeah,
but it seems for some people it was a charitable donation,
sure.
and there is that giving element to the app. So what do you think it's going to become? Is it a non-profit? Is it a for-profit? And like how have you decided to kind of balance those
Yeah.
objectives?
Yeah, great question. So, from the beginning, the goal has always been, and we even use this in our marketing language as well, that we call ourselves the Calm app for Muslims. So, for those unfamiliar with Calm, Calm is the number one meditation app in the entire world. From a business perspective, their valuation, is so high. I think they hit the $1 billion mark or so. That's unheard of for a meditation app. And, they're probably going to be the first meditation app to most likely go, initial public offering, IPO. So they're clearly doing it well, and they're changing lives upon lives upon lives upon lives. So we are not competing against them whatsoever. We're just modeling off of them. And that's been said from the beginning. So our marketing language is we are the Calm app for Muslims, pretty much that. So that even is mirrored from a business perspective as well. So apps like this are not cheap to sustain. We have to pay developers to create new features, and then you have to pay the storage company to store all the files. And the more users you get, the more you have to pay for storage. And then, we have to get new content on the app. Sometimes content is free, sometimes it's not. We want to make partnerships with, relevant, big scholars and public figures across the globe. We want to do marketing campaigns, all of these type of things, right? So
Mm,
because of this, there are so many costs associated with it. So that's exactly why we are a for-profit, and that's the same with Calm as well, and all the other meditation apps as well. But we do have a free version of the app. So that's kind of how the business model is, and it's very similar to Calm. There's a free version of the app where users, inshallah, can have access to content on the app. They can still listen to several meditations. We have the entire Quran that we're working on, which will be a free feature. They can listen to the Quran, and many other things on the app for free. And then for those who want to, have a more habitual aspect of meditation in their lives, can upgrade to premium, and then that's where they can then pay a small monthly fee and have access to all the content in the app. So it's for profit because we have to cover our costs. And there's a free version though, and then there's a paid version as well.
And so many questions that um, that I want to really ask. And I think let's focus in on this though. You're talking about is the Calm app for Muslims, right?
Mhm.
So just it's specifically for Muslims. And what do you think led to the choice of you saying I'm going to make this app just for Muslims?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the reason why, and I think this also has to do a lot with what you guys do with transformative tech and whatnot, especially within the Muslim community. I've noticed that us as Muslims, our community, when it comes to tech and things like that, we're a little behind from mainstream, right? So when you look at it, like we will see, let's take for example, like iQuran, which is a very common Muslim app. There was a Bible version of that app way before the Quran version came out. Same with meditation apps and so many other niches, right? They have been, Calm has released 6, 7 years ago. Headspace, another competitor in that niche, 6, 7 years ago as well. There wasn't anything in the
More.
yeah.
It
So
was a website. Calm was a website. I remember using Calm way back in I think almost 2013.
wow.
It was not an app. It was a website. It was just calm.com. It was just a website, and it just had some visualizations and soothing music. That's what Calm
Wow.
was
Wow.
before it was a mobile app.
See, look at that. So like
That's 8 years
it's
ago.
been
Yeah.
there. 8 years ago.
I, I may have been there earlier than that. I mean, that's just when I discovered it. I mean,
Wow, wow. So there
but
you
yeah,
go.
let's return to the point of what we're talking about, which is specifically for Muslims.
Yeah,
And so you're talking about this fact that we're a little bit behind. So we're playing catch up right now. So the
yeah,
what one of the good things we can do is emulate from things that work.
100%. And that's what we did with some.
What about innovating for things that other communities haven't seen?
Then that is all for us to do. So like that's essentially the reason why we went niche focus. And there's so many things that haven't been seen yet for Muslims as well, that can also be done because the Muslim community is growing. They're getting more affiliated with their phones. Their kids are getting on the iPads and things like that. We're all understanding the importance of tech, which is why I think it's such a important niche that we can focus on. And the reason we went niche focus is because if we were to say it's for everybody, it still is. Non-Muslims can definitely use the Sabr app and benefit from it, but our main target is Muslims, and the reason is because if it wasn't, then we'd be competing directly with Calm, with Headspace,
Mm,
and
mm.
that's not the game. At least for now, that we want to delve into. We want to go more niche focused, just because that's where it's something a little bit different. Yeah,
So what makes this niche? Because people are going to see this recording. There are going to be non-Muslims who are going to see this recording,
yeah, yeah,
and there is this idea that the Muslim community is this one definable thing, and clearly by making an app and saying that you're doing that, so there is some element there that
yeah.
you think that you can say this is these elements are what makes a Muslim app,
Yeah,
and what are those elements?
so great question. If there are any non-Muslims listening, I 100% invite you to download the app and try it yourself. It's the same experience you'll get from Calm. The only difference is, which I don't think I've seen in the Calm app or Headspace app, and that's because it's just for a broader neutral audience, is that the meditations on the Sabr app are very faith focused, right? So it's the same therapeutical meditations that therapists have written with the breathe ins and the breathe outs, and we'll listen to one. The only addition is that there's also an element of faith added to it. So if you're a non Muslim, when you hear the word Allah, that means God. And when you think about that, God is one, right? So that type of element is added into the meditations, and that's kind of what makes it a little bit different. That there's an element of faith and attachment to God into the meditations.
I think, and I would say um, there is also, attachment to God in the lens with which the Muslim community sees it, as opposed to the Judeo or the Christian community. So there might be certain things from, our history and culture, or the texts that we use, whether that's from the Quran or
Yeah,
the Hadith and other things. Subhan, I wanted to ask you. I know that right now the app is basically English focused,
yeah,
right? And then other than English, I think you've got Arabic, because that's the the language of the Quran and stuff like that. But can you speak a little bit about the diversity of the Muslim community and the
yeah,
challenges in trying to make an app for a Muslim community as a whole, when you know that the Muslim community is actually very diverse and has very different experiences, different in different parts of the globe, and
yeah.
beliefs and cultures and
Oh yeah.
languages and all of that.
Subhanallah. So definitely 100%. The Muslim community is so diverse, and right now we've been focusing on the English language right now, just because that's just where we are right now. But 100% the intention is to diversify the languages on the app and to grow. As we mentioned, we're modeling off the Calm app, and they started in English. But as they started to grow, as they started to get funding, as they started to just really, really expand, then they started to delve into different languages. If you're in, wherever you are in the country, most likely there is a version in a different language for you. Everything is in that language. So similarly, we know that there are so many Muslims. I'm from Pakistan myself, right? So, the goal one day, inshallah, is to get it in Urdu, and then maybe to get people who speak the Urdu language, right? Like, uh, you know, Maulana Tariq Jamil, for example, such an eloquent speaker in Pakistan, right? How cool would it be to get someone like him to do an Urdu meditation or something like that, right? And then moving into to the full Arabic language. There's so many Muslims in Palestine, in Saudi Arabia, etc., focusing on them. Going to Malaysia and ensuring we have languages suited for them. So we know that there's so many Muslims across the globe, and it is definitely our intention, inshallah, to cater toward them in their native language. But inshallah, one step at a time.
I was just, as you were talking about this, I was just feeling how much the community itself is very much divided, and has a lot of conflicts over land, resources,
Mhm.
culture, belief, and the optimism with which you speak. Uh, it seems so great that, other than just making people patient, as the word sabr is, or calm, or increasing well-being, it's also about peace and unity and bringing people together in a way. Because when you've got everybody who's coming together to for the same goal, for the same objectives, which is to uplift people who are suffering,
Yeah.
there's something beautiful about that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, whatever differences one has, of opinions or animosity toward others, if one is hurting, which many people are, then the goal, inshallah, is for them to feel better. So that's, I think, the common uniter that hopefully this app can bring is when you're down, when you're depressed, when you're sad, there's something in this app that can help, cheer you up, inshallah.
I think we've covered quite a bit of the sort of questions that um, I had for you. And before we get into the product demonstration and take a look at that, and then open up for questions, I just want to ask. So, I think you've outlined a little bit about what's next for the Sabr app. So you feel that you do want to take it in other languages. You are interested in reaching out to the personalities in other communities. I know we didn't really discuss this, but I was wondering whether you had anything to say about, the is zikr and Sufi meditation, or whether there's any difference you feel in when it comes to meditations,
Mhm.
other than you said it's faith, but how diverse do you think it is, and how much have you explored the
Yeah.
differences between the Western or mindfulness and the Indian or the Vedic and the
Great question. Great question. So it's so diverse, right? Going from the Sufism, they have their versions of how they, do their mindfulness practices with incorporation of dhikr and things of that sort. And then there's
so
so
can
many
you
different.
explain to the non-Western audience what this is, the Sufi meditation and zikr?
Yeah.
What does
So
that mean?
So I'm not 100% well versed in that, but it's just a way for them to just, so basically mindfulness in the way that we know it right now with faith gone is for you to forget about everything and just focus on the meditations at hand. That's what mindfulness is. It's for you to close your eyes and forget about nothing and try to think about nothing. Now, with Sufism and just Muslim meditations, what we're trying to do in general is for you not to forget about everything. It's for you to forget about everything, but think about God. That's a
Mm,
It's for you to be mindful of everything except God. So when Sufis, for example, do their meditations, that's their common goal, and the same is such for I would say anyone who's doing dhikr or dua and things of that sort. So when we do our meditations, our main criteria is that it's written and reviewed by therapists type of thing, and then all the content in the app in general, our goal is to make it for your everyday Muslim, like very
mm,
calm in general. So not so much on the right end and not so much on the left end, right in the middle for your everyday Muslim who may be super practicing or may not be practicing at all. So
mm.
that's our goal, is not to take one side or another side, but to be right in the middle and to be very, very neutral.
It's a difficult balance to strike. So what I would like to add to that is just that, so from the Western focus, it's about awareness of self and awareness of the present moment.
Yeah.
uh, Whereas here it's about that and also the awareness of Allah or the awareness of God. So the awareness of the spiritual, that and that sort of that God consciousness is also this word that is being used recently, and I used it with you. It's like the taqwa, which is the God consciousness, and the
Yeah, there
taqwa
you go.
tech.
That's the word. Subhanallah.
So right, so that's like from transformative tech. I think what I'm hearing among some of the communities here is this taqwa tech, which is awareness and also awareness of God.
Yep.
So what's next for you, Subhan?
Yeah, subhanAllah. So many things. Obviously, the goal is to raise a good child, but in addition to that, just to grow, inshallah, we're starting to grow. Ramadan, we have a big campaign coming up. We've had two types of people reach out to us. We've had Group A, people who can't afford the premium version of the Sabr app. They love it. They're
Mm,
struggling. They want the premium version. They just can't afford it. And then we have another group of people who can afford it and they want to gift it to others who can't afford it. So Ramadan, inshallah, is where we're planning on having that opportunity, and we're going to be calling it the gift of Sabr, where people who can afford can now gift the Sabr app to someone who can't afford, inshallah. So that's our immediate focus, but obviously, as mentioned, inshallah, just to continue growing the app and trying to change as many lives as possible.
yeah, so Ramadan being the month of fasting is also a month of a lot of sabr.
Oh, yeah.
That and Subhan, tell me. So we've been discussing a lot about this, transformative tech in Muslim community. Uh, where do you think this is going? Where do you think this is headed?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to stop. I think, many are going to be very innovative within this field. I mean, we launched November, and just between November and now, I've seen, one or two, even three potentially more Muslim meditation apps starting to come to market. So, that's okay because, that it's a need. You'll see so many adhan apps, you'll see so many Quran apps, right? So, just because we're one of the first, that doesn't mean we're going to be the only one. And similar, there's so many other niches where I think others will start to work on. For example, I've seen a lot of apps in the Quranic literature type of like realm, like where you're trying to understand the Quran, right? I've seen there's Quranic, mashallah. There's so many others that try to teach you the meaning of the Quran. Youth, kids, that's a huge niche. There's so many companies that are starting to come about, and some that already exist that are animated series for kids and things like that, whether it be on their iPads or their phones, or they send actual materials to you. It's definitely growing, and I don't see it stopping.
Yeah, I think this is something that is big. The ed tech, and you're talking about animated stories. You're talking about connecting the younger generations with their own culture, because as the community diversifies and spreads, it does become hard. Like for a lot of people in the U.S., and it also becomes hard to integrate being an American or being a European and being a Muslim, and how to balance those things. I believe Yusuf Islam has made some great animated things for children, and so yeah, I think one of the things you're talking about is combining the ed tech with the Islamic tech, and where that's gonna go. I think that there's probably gonna be a lot of room also in peace building
Mm,
and in awareness building for different communities, such as brown communities, black communities, Muslim communities, and helping them integrate with other communities, um, and reduce the violence or the hatred or the misunderstandings
yeah, yeah,
that
uh,
are really there.
yeah.
And I'm excited to see what happens in that space. But why don't we just now take a look at the demo that you had lined up?
Sure, sure. So I'll share my
Yeah.
screen, and then I'll
Is
play.
there anything you would like to add before that?
No, 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 brother Heather. I think, mashallah, you hit everything on the park. It's been truly an honor to just kind of think about the whole journey from the beginning and just kind of share. And I totally welcome everyone who's here. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask once we're done with the demo. And if not, you can always, if you think of questions later, you can always find, just reach out. We're on Instagram and things like that, so you can always ask later. But I wanted to thank you, brother Hader, for asking such amazing questions and doing all the great work that you do. Okay, so and I will just share my screen, and I think I
I'm gonna give you the what you may call it. So I'm gonna make you the host,
sure.
and or why don't you actually request to share screen, and then I'll give you.
So it says the host disabled screen share.
Okay. Okay. So I'll make you host, then you can return that to me
Yeah, I'll
afterwards.
return it right back.
Okay. There you go.
Great. So let's go here. Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna play this. You can feel free to actually meditate if you'd like. Otherwise, inshallah, you can just listen and kind of get a feel for what some of these therapeutical meditations sound like. And this is just the home page of the app, all the different pages. And this is going to be for calming anxiety.
Welcome to the 7 Days of Calming Anxiety. This is session 1, stillness. The goal of this session is to practice stillness. Anxiety is a moving source in the body that requires stillness for us to understand and heal. First, make your intention. What is the intention of this meditation practice? Infuse that intention into your mind and body. Let's begin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. To begin, choose a quiet, comfortable spot to sit or lie down. Feel free to close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, or focus on one spot directly in front of you. Begin by taking a slow, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Try to make that exhale longer than the inhale. Breathe in and breathe out. Completely empty out your lungs. Take your deepest breath you've taken all day. Breathe in and breathe out. Your thoughts may wander during this practice, and that is completely normal. The goal is not to have an empty mind. Just allow whatever thoughts come up to flow wherever they go, and slowly bring your attention back to your breath. Now gently breathe in and breathe out. Keep up with your slow but steady breathing. Notice your breath. Notice the air moving in and out. The air you breathe is a gift given to you by Allah, Lord of the worlds. Pay attention to it. Imagine your chest filling up with light. Now allow that light to remove any darkness that you may feel. As you do this, feel the tightness in your chest, all the worries, the anxieties, the uncertainties. Let them leave your body with each breath. Once more, your thoughts may wander. Let them. It's okay. It's normal. Just allow them to flow wherever they go and bring attention back to your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. Take a few more moments here to just be in complete stillness. No movement, no restlessness, no anxiety, no stress. Just complete stillness. Rest. You've earned this. You deserve this. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Now, whenever you are ready, open your eyes, unlock your gaze, and return back to where you are in the room. Take in this practice of stillness. Appreciate yourself for practicing stillness and stepping away from the anxiety. Return to your day rejuvenated and breathing a little more freely than you've ever done before. May your day be filled with inner peace.
So that was a little taste of how the meditations are on the app.
That's really fantastic. Makes I feel really calm and more peaceful. And I like how, it's exactly like you said, it's like a calm app for Muslims in that it has all the elements of calm meditation and many of the languages and motifs and metaphors, for example, light entering your chest, the use of the word Bismillah in the name of God, the most merciful, and so it's just, it's just a little bit of language. I think that's acknowledging, my identity, my communal identity, which is very appealing, and I think it's really fantastic for the Muslim community to have an app like this, so they feel connected to their own culture while they seek peace, and while they seek, stress reduction, and while they seek presence, and while they seek awareness, and they also get, the part of their identity. So
No.
yes, if anyone would like to comment about the experience, I think this would be a nice point, other than the Q&A, to just say anything that you'd like to say about how that was.
Yeah, I would like to first thank you, Haider and Subhan, for this interesting, very interesting app. And the meditation was really very relieving and calming. And it's really interesting that you addressed the Muslim community, and it's just that was what I wanted to know. As you said that you only the difference is that you refer the meditations in the name of Allah, right? So everything else is like just mindfulness practice, but just you refer it to, yeah. I'm not sure if Calm app is just referring only, it does not refer to higher source or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I see, for example, other Western meditations, a lot of them refer to God. Um, not they don't call it Allah, but higher God, because a lot of them are practicing maybe Christianity.
Yeah.
So I see a lot of variations in this domain. I see also recently, for example, in the Arab world, where we have a lot of religions, and uh, I see there is let's say, a common language of speaking in the name of God. So, for example, in Jordan, we have a lot of Muslims and Christians, and when we go to meditation sessions, we just practice mindfulness and meditation in the name of God, but there is no specified, let's say, version for Muslim or Christians. Maybe because we are in the same country. I just wanted to point this to you. Maybe this will be helpful to you to just know that maybe every country, every culture is different. But what I see is that a lot of people are being more aware that the consciousness of God, or this, and started to search more for this,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I saw a Netflix program that talked about how a meditator who believes in God and who do not believe in God, how the frontal vortex, I think it's called, what is it? The in Arabic, I forgot the name. It just light in a different way. With if a Muslim, if someone is believing in God and does not believe in God, so I think people are being more aware of this, and it's really interesting. And would like to thank you for this great work. I launched a meditation app in Arabic. I'm still in the beta version,
Hmm.
and I relate to God in my meditations, uh, but in a general way,
Yeah.
Allah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Love it. That's amazing, and thank you so much for such an amazing series of comments, and it's so exciting to see that you're doing something like this. And I know, as you mentioned, so many people are starting to understand the importance of this and search for this. So I commend you on doing this, and I know it's going to be of benefit to so many people. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for you too.
Hmm.
Would anyone like to add something about the experience of using Subhan's app, or being part of the demonstration of meditation right now, or in the meditative process?
Just a small thought. Um, I'm not sure just the meditation itself, but the voice itself is very soothing. So I think when you hear calming tones in your life and you're trying to get to that space, it's like a useful sort of pivot. So I feel like that itself, and I wonder if there's a multi-gender component here as well, where there's men or women who will be
Mm.
communicating in this meditation app, or is it male only?
Good question. Yeah, so the goal 100% inshallah is to have both. So Calm has both. Our goal inshallah is to have both as well. So we're so currently just to get out there, we had a male do a lot of the narrations, but now as we've grown, we're speaking to different sisters in our community, well-known speakers, to do some narrations with some meditations as well, for sure.
I also want to respond that there's another app called Mindful Muslim, if you've used it, and that one asks you early on whether you're a male or a female, what your gender is, and then it segregates you with a male and a female speaker as you may choose. So there are, I think, and I think what Murza said about having the soothing voice and the calming voice, that's also some of the feedback that I received when I was developing content, is that we don't like such and such voice actor, they don't feel soothing to us, and so that is one of the things that you have to see, and which also I think drives up costs, right, Subhan? Because if you want to go with the more professional, that then obviously there's a cost to it. It's not as easy as it may seem on the outside to make a guided meditation. There's a lot of training that goes into someone, both voice training and acting, and also knowledge and of spirituality, knowledge of tech. So there are a lot of things that go into it. Subhan, I also wanted to look at the app that I think you've got some kind of like your features are not just meditation. There's also some like course or learning or something. Would you
Yeah,
care to elaborate on like what else is in your app, like you showed us at the start?
yeah.
And if you're still the host, you can show at the start screen what other features
Great
are
question.
there.
Sure. So going over, so basically the app is pretty much composed of three sections. The first is like a home section. So this is just a hodgepodge, if you will, of all the different aspects of the app. One cool thing we're launching soon is called Daily Sabr. This will just be daily series of meditations, motivation, things of that sort. But then moving on, the app is composed into three sections. So the first will be courses. So as you can see here, courses are just uplifting and inspiring pieces of motivation by scholars, public figures, and professionals. So there isn't like the deep breathing elements or affirmations and things like that. This is basically like teaching you a little bit about, the various subject and giving you some motivation, if you will. So like if you go to a Jummah khutbah or something like that, it's just very motivational, uplifting, informational type of content. So that's the first section. And then, of course, then we go on to the meditation section. And this is what we just listened to. So this is with the deep breathing, closing your eyes, visualization, all that type of stuff, the therapeutical lens, if you will. So that's the main aspect of the app. Then the last aspect is what we call the vocal section. So this is very calm, soothing, melodious a cappella voices and sounds that can help you sleep. It can help you study. It can help you de-stress. It just can help you calm down and wind down, if you will. We've recently just added the Quran section as well. And the goal is to have the entire Quran on the app, free for everyone, no ads like you would get on YouTube and things like that, featuring reciters from across the globe. So inshallah, that's another aspect of the app. But very simple. It's courses, meditations, vocals. Those are the three main aspects of the app.
Excellent. I mean, I think it's both comprehensive and it's also very simple. Um, it, it's good. I really, I like the feature design. It's a nice edit. It's pretty clear. So I think at this point, I'd open it up if anybody from the audience. I'm mindful of the time. So if there's any Q&A, if you want to ask Subhan any questions, or myself, or anyone else in the audience, like Rania here from TT Aman. So please go ahead. Comments are also welcome. If you don't have a question and you just want to make a comment, that's also just fine.
I just want to know, Subhan, that you said that you have. I just would like to know more about how do you the process. So you just the meditation is done by specialized people, and then you review it with a therapists, right? Is it that way?
So it's the other way. So what we would do is we would get the scripts from the therapist. They would write down the scripts, and then we would find someone to do a narration of the scripts, if you will.
Okay.
And then once the narration comes, then I would do the editing. I would put the sound, the waves in the background, and I would take their voice and put it over, and then make that an MP3 file to put that on the app.
Yeah, very interesting. I would like to have your contact. Maybe I can just ask you about.
Yes, absolutely. I'll put my email in the chat, and then you can always send an email anytime.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What about your development team? So Swan, you're doing a lot of the audio editing and stuff like that. What about the app development and the software development side?
Yeah, they've been great. So they are a team who have their project managed in the U.S. and then they have a team in India. But they've been awesome. They've been able to help and make things easier for me to add content, courses, things like that myself. But obviously handle the back end and when need be add new features, things like that. So been very helpful and definitely grateful for them.
Sounds good. So if there are no further questions, I think we'll end here. Thank you so much, Subhan, for your time and for the good work that you're doing. And thank you to whoever's attended as part of the community, friends, well-wishers, and other program leaders and app makers. And I'll see you guys, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Brother Haider. You're amazing. I really appreciate all the great work that you do. You've been awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, everyone. Goodbye.
Take care,
Allah
everybody.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.